Madison Public Library connects us to the world, to information, and to each other. September is Library Card Sign-Up Month, so it's the perfect time to get your very own Madison Public Library card. Already have a card? You can renew it this month and visit the library website for a list of 30 things you can do with your Madison Library card, one for every day of September. Visit madpl.org or stop into any Madison Public Library to get started. Y'all, Jones Dairy Farm, located in Fort Atkinson, is a standout. They do premium meat manufacturing, making dry-aged bacon, naturally smoked hams and Canadian bacon, all-natural sausage, and a new no antibiotics ever chicken and pork meatballs. It's a 7th-generation family-owned and operated farm who's been making breakfast better since 1889. Learn more at jonesdairyfarm.com. That's jonesdairyfarm.com. Today on City Cast Madison. It's time for the Friday News Roundup. Fall means football and apparently super long lines for the Badger season that's already booked and busy. Several notable Madison nonprofits are struggling with their finances. Madison's got a new city park, and the Vice President of the United States will be here today for a rally for her presidential campaign. It's Friday, September 20th. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Alrighty, I am here with the best crew, with the leader of this here podcast, Hayley Sperling. How are you, Hayley?
Hello, I'm so excited to be here, all of us in person. It's all happening.
Yes, we are in person today, and it's like groovy. It's great to actually see your beautiful faces, not on the screens. And speaking of other beautiful faces, our new newsletter editor, Rob Thomas. I'm looking at you, Rob. How's it going?
Fantastic. It's great to see your smiling faces, and they're not being in little boxes and freezing up halfway through a sentence. So I'm loving this.
Well, Rob, you're kicking us off this week with our first story.
That's right. So if you're a Badger football fan, you're not having a great fall between the shellacking the team took from Alabama last weekend, and now the quarterback, I guess, is out for the season because of a knee injury. So it's not looking good. One thing I've noticed with sports fans is when they're unhappy with what's happening on the field, they get unhappy with what's happening off the field as well. In this case, what's going on in the concourse. You guys might remember this is the first season that they're allowed beer sales at Camp Randall. And that has led to a lot of congestion in the concourse, especially on the west side upper deck, apparently. You've got long lines for beer and other drinks. You've got people trying to get to their seats. You've got people trying to go to the bathroom. And I can understand all three of those things. Yeah. But fans have been complaining that they go get a beer and they're gone for a quarter. They miss basically a quarter of football because they're waiting in line and trying to move through the sea of red. And apparently it was kind of embarrassing because, Alabama fans were there last weekend, and that's, a top-ranked franchise. And some people are a little embarrassed to see that kind of traffic jams at their stadium. So there's been a lot of complaints about it from fans. Varsity officials acknowledge that there's a problem, and they've tried to do things like add concessions outside and extra porta potties. But they're pretty limited, I guess, just because of the space there on the west side of the stadium. They did do some renovations to the east side a few years ago, which alleviates some of the issues. So it's an ongoing thing. And I guess in the master plan for the stadium, they want to do some major renovations to the west side, but that's going to cost like hundreds of millions of dollars.
I was going to say, that sounds very expensive.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically building a new stadium on that side. And so that's not in the near future. Let's put it that way. So If you're a Badger fan, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a legitimate issue, or it's like you're at a Badger game, being among the Badger faithful, that's, crammed in. That's part of the deal.
It's so hard because, I mean, this really is like the first test of this alcohol sale too, right? So like, are there genuinely that many more people like flooding the hallways because they want beer? I don't know. Like, has this Has this not always been an issue? Is it just more because, again, like I said, people want beer? I don't know. I think it would suck, though, like if people paid, and I know they did, hundreds of dollars for a ticket to that Alabama game, and then, yeah, they get up to go to the bathroom and then miss a full quarter because they couldn't get back to their seat.
Right.
Like, that sucks. That does suck.
Yeah.
It has me kind of laughing. So I'm like, oh, wait, UW, we undervalued how much people wanted to drink. Like, wait, what? Something fell through the cracks.
We could have never seen this coming.
Who could have predicted? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I went to like a Badger basketball game, and it took a fair amount of time to go leave and get your stuff. So I guess I don't know like how crazy it is for people to wait a quarter. I understand not enjoying that, but if they're saying it's an issue, hey, yeah, just get more food, I guess. Get more spaces.
Stock up, get there early.
But then you can't really stock up because you can only get like 2 drinks per person, right? Like at a time. That's which makes sense because you don't want people just buying a bunch of drinks all at once and getting really rowdy.
That person at Starbucks is like, I brought my whole office
Yes.
order.
But it's just all of this seltzer is for me.
Yeah.
There's no winning. There's really no winning.
It is sort of a natural curb to drinking at the stadium to be like, you have to wait 35 minutes to get your beer. So maybe that's an unexpected benefit of it. But
I think we need patience. No. our cluster F of a world. That's all of the emotion. No one can wait anymore. No,
there's so much emotion and there's like just so much energy in the stadium already that like I could see this ending badly in some situation. Like, I mean, what Nick Nice was telling us that Iowa fans were great and Ohio fans were really bad. So, you know, if there's an Ohio game and someone's waiting to get back to their seat, like, is someone going to start throwing hands? Like, are we going to have like a bad situation happen here? Like, thankfully, I mean, no one died. No one got hurt. People just stood in long lines, which sucks. But in the scheme of things, like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I'll also say it could get worse.
It could be. Maybe we need separate traffic lanes for the different teams. Somewhere.
Right. Yes, yeah. Ohio stays on the left.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, talking about people trying to figure stuff out, we've got more of that to come. Before we do that and dive into more news, let's take a quick break.
What's up, guys? It's the champ, Sean O'Malley, here to talk to you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. Run your game on Prize Picks.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
All right, we've got people trying to figure out their finances, and it's not great.
It's not great. Yeah, there are some prominent Madison nonprofits that are having a tough time right now, to put it simply. The Cap Times, who has been on their game with this reporting, recently came out and reported that Urban Triage, a nonprofit that provides rental and housing assistance to Dane County residents and specifically the Black community, is over budget and out of money for a very key housing program. For context, the organization has operated as a nonprofit since 2020, and it provides direct funds for housing assistance, so like helping people literally pay their rent and put down security deposits. It also partners with other local groups and organizations to create programming for families centered around career development and financial literacy, trauma recovery, and more. So they're doing a lot of really great work. They've been doing a lot of really great work. So what's the trouble? Back in December, the county awarded Urban Triage more than $300,000 in a contract to provide rental assistance, security deposit support, and more to people experiencing homelessness in Dane County. But recently, Urban Triage discovered that it overspent the money by $100,000. So The founder and CEO, Brandy Grayson, she told the Cap Times that she discovered that they had overspent the money by the first week of September, and that money was supposed to last through the whole year. So this means that now there's just a huge hole in resources for folks who need housing assistance, and it's going to put a strain on a lot of different institutions. And moving forward, what happens? There are a lot of questions. Urban Triage says that they can no longer provide rental and security deposit assistance. They're still going to help out the people that are like already in their system, already in the queue, but they cannot take on any more new people. And they'll still provide case management and support to people navigating the systems. And it will also continue to update its housing resource list. So they're still doing a lot of work, still doing a lot of stuff. But again, there's a really massive hole in our community right now when it comes to housing resources. Sherry Carter, the president of Porchlight, which we know as the nonprofit that helps specifically unhoused men in Madison and Dane County, they have a shelter going on downtown. She told the Cap Times that she thinks there should have been more oversight and scrutiny on the management of this money. And for context, again, Porchlight is over capacity itself right now, serving more than 250 people, which truly underscores how big of an issue that housing and homelessness is in Madison. We're always talking about housing and we're always talking about the affordability, but this is what happens when you don't have affordable housing. You have more people facing housing insecurity and homelessness. So I don't know. My question is who should be in charge of this oversight? The county gave Urban Triage the money. It's public funds. Where does this oversight come in? I don't really know. Is it on Urban Triage? Is it on the county? Is it on a mysterious third thing? I don't know. What do you guys think so far?
I mean, I think it's hard to argue that there didn't need to be some kind of oversight when they're this far in the hole.
Right.
And credit to Urban Triage for coming forward and saying, we're in trouble, and so, but I think that relationship needs to be rethunk. Yeah.
I definitely give credit to them and, to Brandy because she's came out, had an interview with the Cap Times, had an interview with some of, the other broadcast news channels and is being trying to be at least very transparent when it comes to this issue that they're facing. And they are not the only group that is facing financial troubles right now, but I have seen a lot of people online, so take it with a grain of salt, really scrutinizing Brandy's salary, which is roughly $290,000. And I haven't.
What?
Yeah, which is a lot of money. That is a lot of money for sure. But you look
almost
at
$300,000 for a nonprofit.
For a nonprofit executive director. And to put that into context, I was looking at ProPublica. They have a great database of a bunch of different nonprofit, over 1 million nonprofits. So definitely check it out. And they give basically breakdowns of their 990s, which are their financial statements. They talk about how much their executives make. And so I was trying to give comparisons of what are some other Madison nonprofits? What are their executives making? The Goodman Center executive makes roughly $138,000. Porchlight, $105,000. Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, $355,000. So these are very high-paid executive jobs. They are doing a lot of work, and a lot of the times when it comes to nonprofit, executive salaries are tied to the revenue that they're bringing in. And, Urban Triage is bringing in millions of dollars in revenue, and so are all of these other places. So I don't know. There are a lot of questions to be had. There's a lot of investigating to do. But all of this is to say
that just blows me away because the governor of our state salary is $152,000.
Right.
So to be making $100,000 more than the governor, I don't know. I mean, I know that's government versus
nonprofit, but also nonprofit. What does that mean? There are so many gray zones in this. But again, all of this is to say is that Urban Triage is not the only one that is facing financial issues right now. And like I said, I see a lot of people scrutinizing their executive salary. I have not seen that case being made on the Goodman side of things, which Bianca, you're going to tell us more about.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because we're talking about nonprofits that are very key in Madison and provide such good services. That have such good intentions. But yeah, another story from the Cap Times first reported, reporter Danielle Duclos, about what's happening at the Goodman Center on Madison's east side. The Madison police are now conducting an investigation into their finances because there was a quote, they discovered financial inconsistencies and impropriety in their financial picture. So that's really sad. It's actually their 70th anniversary this year for the Goodman Center. And now they have kind of this big issue that's clouding that picture. There's not a ton of details, kind of like similar to the urban triage right now, because there is an investigation happening. Goodman Community Center did say, according to a statement that they sent out to supporters, that they retained a forensics accounting firm to dig into what happened. And they've made some internal changes to ensure integrity and security of their finances are protected. But it's not a great picture. Something is awry at this also very large organization. Goodman Center, if you don't know, is they run a food pantry. They have loads of adult and children programming, a fitness center, and like a very active event space, gorgeous gardens. Talk about Goodman Pool.
So much stuff.
I mean, they're integral part of Madison's east side. And for context of how large they are, their nonprofit tax filings from 2022 said that they took in over $10 million in revenue that year and had 248 employees. So these are
That's big
organizations. And they also have this intentional mindset of adding progressive programming and being progressive for their employees. Their 2023 annual report showed that their adult programming grew by 50%. So they serve thousands of people, and they are also dealing with financial woes. And
we have no idea what's going on. That's a tough one. I don't want to speculate on anything that's going on because I am not a financial investigator.
Right.
I am a journalist and a podcaster. But like when the police get involved, that raises some alarm bells for me. So I'm very curious to see what comes out of this. Again, Goodman, similarly to Urban Triage, like they sent an email out to their supporters ahead of time. They're trying to get ahead of this issue and they're trying to be transparent about what's going on. But also, you can only be so transparent when there is an active investigation happening. So there's not a whole lot of details with this, what's going on right now. I'm curious to see how this will impact, if it will impact, any of their programming for the rest of this year and going into next. So again, a lot of questions unanswered in Madison's nonprofit scene. I'm not holding my breath for good news.
I believe in the power of the Madison people. As soon as I'm preaching, I believe in us. But yeah, I mean, we need integrity in our nonprofits, and obviously they're work really closely with the government and get lots of grants and support from everyone in the community. So it's good that we talk about these things so people know what you're supporting and how's it going, and hopefully they can turn the ship around. But specifically Goodman Center, they have such a beautiful plot and garden and things to enjoy path around Goodman Center. And speaking of that, we've got more news on some beautiful outdoor space you can hang at. But before we do that, let's take a quick break.
If your business needs a new application, then developers will have to write code. A lot of code. If an application needs to be modernized, then you'll need time, resources, and caffeine. If this sounds daunting, then use Watson X Code Assistant. Built with IBM's Granite code model, it's AI designed to multiply developer productivity so you can generate code quickly. Learn more at ibm.com/codeassistant. IBM, let's create.
And we got something new in our city. Kind of cool. Rob's got the story.
We got a new park, everybody.
Yay!
We have a new park. This is good. We got good news to it. Yeah. It's called Lakefront Porch Park. It is at 201 South Hancock Street, overlooking Lake Monona. And it's a really interesting park because it's the site of a Madison water utility concrete reservoir. And so this has been the result of like 15 years of work between volunteers in the neighborhood and city officials, because there was like this great space that was not really being used for anything. And residents were like, why don't we make a little park out of it? And so over the years, they've raised money. They raised like $460,000. The city has put some money in. It's sort of grown. They've added tables. They added planters. Now it kind of looks like a porch. There's like a wooden top to this thing. It looks so cool.
The people's porch.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking it was sort of like when you see it with like the tables and chairs and the umbrellas and the lake view, it's sort of like the mini-me to the Memorial Union Terrace on Lake Mendota in a way. Like,
it is. It's like a mini, there's no sunburst.
Right.
But yes,
it's colorful. It's pretty adorable.
And it is like right on the lake, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's sort of like this connecting space between the downtown and like the first settlement district. So people can kind of come and meet each other there and hang out over the water. And just a really cool idea. They had a kind of like a groundbreaking ceremony yesterday with volunteers and city officials. And, it's just
everyone loves a ribbon cutting.
Everybody loves a ribbon cutting. They had food, they had drinks, they had music, they had great weather. It's a win-win all around. So it took a long time coming. Like I said, it was 15 years of work.
Takes a lot to make anything happen here.
Yeah. So, the thing is, like I admire people who drove by this concrete reservoir and said, you know what, there should be a park there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
you almost could oversee it because it was just like, it's like, what is this little area?
Yeah.
It looks like a mistake. Like, and then it's just like, how do you get there?
Yes.
It's weird. But now, the colorful picnic tables and benches, I think it's like, okay, yes, please do come here. Use this space. Before it was like, am I allowed to be up here?
Is this contaminated? Like it kind of just looked like a little wasteland, but in a miniature version.
Not a wastewater utility, right? We're good. We're at the reservoir, yeah. So do you think this might spark like different ideas like this where people will kind of look at their neighborhoods and go, you know what, we could put a little park in here?
I love it. I feel it's very Madison coded. Like, let's put a park here.
For sure.
If it works, it works.
Yeah. I think it could spark that because genuinely there are actually, if you have a little area like that, you should let us know.
Let us come. Let us record our podcast in your house.
I like the micro park movement. I think we
need
to start that.
Yeah. Parks for all.
Yes.
I have a memory there. I used to work at Notchville, and just like kind of that corridor after King Street, and you're going down over by John Nolan, that's that way. And I watched the 4th of July like at this little concrete jungle. I finished my shift, and I met someone from Liechtenstein, this girl who was there, and she was just like here seeing the city, and we just stood and watched the fireworks over Monona, over this little concrete park. And now, later we could sit at the tables together. So
that's perfect.
3 cheers.
I love it. This park is like its own kind of Liechtenstein, because it is just like in the middle of all of these weird things.
And tiny and rich
and tiny, but beautiful and has so much to offer.
Yes,
I have to imagine that's
New Liechtenstein is the name of the park. We're already renaming the park. Speaking about exciting things for some folks, the Vice President of the United States is going to be in Madison today for a rally. She obviously for her presidential run, she's here to build up support and create a quote blue wall. She's got upcoming visits to here, to Pennsylvania and Michigan, and it feels like we've seen her a lot in Wisconsin. And we saw her back in March in Madison, and obviously recently she held a rally in Milwaukee during the Democratic National Convention last month. She's actually made 8 stops to Wisconsin this year. 4 since President Joe Biden dropped out. So it's interesting.
I mean, we're seeing her face in person. And I mean, I know, Rob, you just had this in the newsletter, but we're seeing her face and Donald Trump's face all over online and in broadcast. They are spending some serious money in Madison specifically.
Do you guys get like, I get 2 or 3 Trump mailers a day in the mailbox.
I get so many mailers. That's
crazy.
The only mail I get.
Yes.
Is political mail. And it's like, I'm happy someone wants to talk to me.
Right.
My boyfriend's getting them, but I haven't got a single one. I don't know. They're like, she's gone. How dare you leave me behind?
Right.
But interesting, in terms of where the polling stands, last week a Marquette Law School poll was released that showed support for Harris is growing in the state, with the vice president holding a 52-48 lead amongst, can I say amongst? That's my girl. I like her. Registered Wisconsin voters in a head-to-head matchup. So
It's one to watch. I mean, it is the one to watch. I don't even look at polling anymore just because I can't. It's a lot to take in. But yeah, we're going to be watching this one till it ends, till it happens. November, get out to vote. Don't forget, register to vote if you're not.
Absolutely.
Yes, register to vote.
But
All
Wisconsin also has same-day registration, so you can do it at your polling place. Anyways, civic involvement.
Civic involvement.
It's a beautiful thing.
Vote early, vote on the day, just do it.
But just one of those. Don't do both of them. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, to be clear.
Yes.
Y'all, thanks for running up the news with me this week. Rob Thomas, thank you so much.
It's great to see everybody.
Yeah, and Hayley Sperling.
See you next time.
That's all for today here on City Cast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. We're produced by Phil Circus, Elizabeth Kama, and Noah Snyderman. Hayley Sperling is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. Don't forget, you can always get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to Madison Minutes. And if you enjoyed today's episode, why not share this podcast with someone who hates waiting in line for beer? See you back here Monday morning with more stories from around the city. Ciao.